Welcome back to the Eric Krown crypto channel. Wishing you a happy and healthy start to this nice Monday over here from a nice and bright and sunny, very sunny, summery Helsinki, Finland. There's actually plenty to talk about this week and also today as well, as we have some major catalysts coming up not in the not so distant future, that being this week. That's going to be GDP numbers, FOMC meeting, and I believe even another thing as well. And that's not even counting the unforeseen events that are, potentially on the horizon as well here. So today's focus is going to be on the short-term time frame analysis. Higher term time frames more or less the same as what we looked at for the past couple of weeks here. And then also a humble reminder that on many social media venues, there's a lot of fake profiles of myself or similar to myself that will be asking you to trade some sort of secret fund or something like that. That is not me. I can assure you of that. I will never DM you for such purposes. I have no interest in such things. I have my hands full trading not really actually recently. It's been pretty fucking boring, honestly, but I'm not interested in it is what I'm trying to say. It's across all social media venues, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and now even Tinder, which is hilarious. But without further ado, I think it's time to actually get into the analysis itself. Let's start off with the short-term timeframes over here and with a short-term recap from what we saw yesterday. So yesterday we were looking at a test to the range lows at 22,200-ish region. That accompanied with hidden bullish divergence, and I believe 4-hour stochastic momentum was also turning up, did indicate that we were looking for a bit of a bounce. Bounce, however, is just another lower high at $23,000. And most importantly, as Bitcoin does play at the same range, we actually do have a range resolution right now with a closure below the 382 Fibonacci retracement, which was 22,200. That does indicate a local high being in the current construction. And while yes, we did say that, hey, a short-term bounce at about the 0.5 retracement right here at 21,600 is likely, which is kind of, what we're getting right now. Might even grind it to a few more times. Any sort of failure to reclaim, especially above 23,000 bucks, is just, just that a failure before continuation to the downside, which I do think is more likely right here, to be fair. We're seeing a little bit of a trap setup going on right now, if you want to call it that. But ultimately, what are the things to be aware of in the short-term timeframes? Not only do we have a range break below the 382, we do see that this is within the context of very, 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 very low 4-hour BBWP. So this move does have, some venom on side of it. And then on top of that, we do see, of course, a bit, if we go over here on 4-hour CME, which I do like signals for this one. I mean, this one's a little bit too late, as obviously that is phantom divergence on the 4-hour RSI. But yes, we did also see a simultaneous downside jewel signal, and that continues to remain with its downside curvature. Short term, does it try for a bounce like we said at the 0.5? Probably yes, but ultimately I would be looking now for momentum takeover, of which when we go over here to the 4-hour time frame, stochastic momentum is pivoted to the downside within the bearish control zone and remains to the downside as long as Bitcoin's below actually the short-term time frame resolution point, which was about 22,250 on a closing basis. If we extrapolate that out to the 6-hour, we can also see that 6-hour stochastic momentum is also turning down. Same pivot, 22,400, or close enough essentially. 12-hour is also going to be showing downside below 23,350. And the daily is also freshly turning down, I should add, below 23,450 or so. So this is all, rather important for the higher term timeframes. And yes, I do think that this is essentially a trap setup. We do see on daily CME, there is going to be hidden bearish divergence right here as well. And of course, when we go back to spot price action on the 2-day time frame, yes, another potential drive of hidden bearish divergence coming in right on over here. This is going all the way back to the highs of May, by the way, which the highs in May were like 31,500 bucks, which Bitcoin didn't get anywhere close. I mean, shit, Bitcoin even made higher highs on 2-day RSI than the early May highs, where Bitcoin was closer to 40,000 bucks, let alone fucking 30,000 bucks right here. So yes, I do think that Bitcoin has a downside move first, probably into these events. And then yes, actually on the higher term timeframes, I actually do not think that Bitcoin's going to break down. What I think you're going to get is, first you get everyone super bullish over here when Bitcoin trades up to, 24,000 bucks. Fair enough. Then as Bitcoin breaks down, everyone's getting super, super bearish, talking about like 15,000, 16,000, 12,000, whatever the fuck, which may happen in the longitudinal like far out is what I'm trying to say. But in the short term, what do we likely get? Well, short term timeframes, as we did denote, a break below these range lows likely does indicate a general move back down about, probably another bounce at about 21,000 bucks to the 618 here. But I do think that somewhere down around about low 20,000 bucks is fair game, anywhere between basically low 20,000 and maybe 19,800 or so. But ultimately, when we go back to this chart over here, maybe it's going to be better seen on this one. I need a fresh one is what we need. Yeah, let's do this. All right, there we go. But ultimately, what I think is most likely to happen, and I'll explain why, is that we get something like this, where Bitcoin comes back down. Again, I'm not saying it's going to go exactly this low, but something like that. And then hopefully, for the Boolaw's sake, put in a higher low, and then have an actual move to the upside and play out those higher term time frame ideas. Remember, when we go back on over here, the weekly actually did close above the stochastic momentum pivot. It is at $20,000 right now, so we just we want to see it maintain above that level. But for long term, that is a pretty damn good indication that we're more or less likely in bouncy territories here. That's alongside the 5-day mean reversion play. That's alongside the weekly PMARP reversion play as well. So I do think, or I do stay with kind of what I've been stating for a while now, that I do think, generally speaking, Bitcoin probably tries to bounce higher. Bitcoin will probably, retest somewhere around the lows, but I don't think that we're going to trade or trend towards new major lows, and then probably does trade higher from there. And then if it's going to dump, it happens after that. I think that would be the best way to kind of chop up the most people in this market, make everyone frustrated as fuck, and make things rather complicated, more than they have to be probably. So in this case right here, long term now, we can look at about 23,500 on a daily closing basis as a major pivot. That being said, as long as Bitcoin's below there, that is your daily range highs. So now that we're 6 minutes into this video, I did forget one thing on the short term. Funding rates are, rather positive, almost at 0.01%. I mean, again, these are not like crazy numbers here, but within the context of the current trend, yeah, that probably does put another added pressure to the downside. And then also the global open interest. I completely whiffed on mentioning this yesterday during the macro video. It wasn't really much of a macro video, to be fair, but we did see the global open interest, get up to a pretty critical region right here. And this would be a great place for another lower high before probably basing back down somewhere closer to, I would guess, 8 billion or so. At that point, I'd be looking at it as once again reset. And if Bitcoin is going to have a move to the upside, probably happens from there, after washing the market out yet again, as everyone fucking loves, right? Anyways, other than that, I think that's maybe a good place to be leaving off on this one. Do we want to go over the higher term timeframes here, like the very, very high term timeframes? Maybe we save that for a different video. Again, all of them are still the same thing. I just feel like I'm kind of repeating myself ad nauseum, and it's just not the most like important thing today, because short term probably does come down first. But after that, I do still think that Bitcoin probably tries for a bounce here than not. I will be wrong on that idea, however, very much wrong on that idea. If you see a daily closure below about 19,600, that would be kind of like the point of no return for myself before looking for, I guess at that point, new trending lows. Anyways, until then, I think that this is a good place to leave off on this video. I want to quickly shill my own Instagram. I've been doing some short-term updates there, just like yesterday, just like today, also some Q&As as well. It's just, it's a good venue for such things, especially when I haven't been doing the live streams, kind of a good way to shoot the shit without boring the shit out of the majority of people who just, want the actual analysis itself. Fair enough. Everyone's entitled to their opinion on that. And then also Bybit chill as well, of which Bybit is offering 0% on maker fees if you use the link in the description below. That promotion will end, I think, at the end of this month. But if you get it, from what I understand, then you get 30 days of no fees on market orders. Or sorry, no, not on market orders, on maker orders. I apologize, the other M word. So that's basically like limit orders that are filled off of market there. Anyways, I think that's a good place now to leave off. I'll be signing off now. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully soon.